Our course is very much kind of centered around the concepts in the book. The course has a good bit of overlap with the book, but a lot of the material in the course is new and complementary. There's maybe like a 30% overlap, but otherwise, this is really a good opportunity to expand beyond things we could cover in the book. There's a lot where we couldn't write a 1,000-page book, so we had to cut it off at certain places. And there's a lot that's been evolving and new since we published the book earlier this year. So definitely check out the book. And beyond the book, the course, which, as we mentioned, today's the last day to sign up. Starts tomorrow. It's a basically the month of November you get to spend with us, with Doug and I, and a bunch of expert guest speakers. It'll be over 5 weeks. We've got 17 live sessions. It should take about 4 to 8 hours a week, depending upon whether you want to dive in on the labs and coding exercises or whether you want to just be part of the conversation and listen. We do have a final promo code for the course today. It's for some of the other ones have expired, but you can still get $250 off for attending this lightning lesson with code Foundations when you go to the course sign-up page. So definitely, if you're interested, you can save a little bit of money there. And I'm going to walk you. Oh, should mention we've got a ton of expert speakers. I'm going to walk you through the calendar in just a second, but we've got Eric Pugh from Open Source Connections. We've got Jenny from Quadrant. We've got Max Irwin, our co-author, who's going to come speak about RAG. We've got John Handler from OpenSearch. And we've got Daniel Svanava from Superlinked, all top of the field here in information retrieval, and they're going to add a lot to the course as we go. And I think we're going to walk you briefly through the weeks just so you have a feel of what's going on. If you haven't dug deep into the syllabus yet, the first week, starting this week, starting tomorrow, we are going to kick things off with a course overview and just talk about, in general, the search relevance problem. We'll recap a few things from today, but we'll mostly be focused on language models, knowledge graphs, and knowledge representations, how matching and ranking fit into that. We'll talk about the dimensions of user intent, focusing on not just the texture matching, but also on user understanding and domain understanding. And then on Wednesday, we'll have Eric Pugh with us. He will be diving deep with us into user behavior insights, which is a mechanism for being able to collect user behavioral signals. And he and I will be walking you through how to do that with the UBI standard, user behavior insights. And then on Thursday, we'll be diving deep into reflected intelligence, which is one of my specialties. We'll be focused on leveraging user behavioral signals to do things like signals boosting for your most popular queries and documents, things like knowledge graph learning, things like sort of an intro to machine learned ranking with click models, which Doug will dive into deeper in the later in the class. And then we will be diving into personalized search and using and building user behavioral embeddings to be able to generate personalized search. So that'll be the first week. And then, of course, every week we'll have office hours on Fridays. So you can bring your questions to us. We can help with labs, or if you've got something at work you're curious about how to fit in with the course content, we can talk about that as well. On week two, we'll start the week off on Tuesday talking about AI-powered query modalities. That'll be things like bioencoders versus cross-encoders, how they work, what they do, multimodal search, hybrid search. We'll do an introduction to RAG, though we have an entire session on that, really two sessions on that the following week. We'll also talk about late interaction models like Colbert and Cole-Pauli and how those work and the benefits and drawbacks of using them. And we'll talk about combining different query modalities with, in particular, Minicoil on Wednesday when Jenny from Quadrant presents. So she'll sort of let us dive deep into one particular model that allows you to get some of the benefits of dense vector representations, which we'll talk about today when doing a traditional kind of keyword lexical search. And then on next Thursday, Doug will dig into building ranking classifiers and learning to rank, where he'll talk about feature engineering, getting great training data, popular classical models and how they work, and ultimately building and deploying a learning to rank model end to end. So this is where we'll really get kind of roll up our sleeves and really focus on understanding how these models work and how to do the feature engineering there. After the office hours on Friday, we'll go to week three, which starts the following Tuesday. That's when we'll dive into RAG. And specifically, we'll of course cover naive RAG approaches, which is what most people do out of the box. We'll also talk about chunking strategies and some preferred chunking strategies like semantic chunking and late chunking and some of the benefits of them and drawbacks. We'll talk about agentic RAG and adaptive RAG. We'll talk about putting guardrails in place in your RAG system. And Max is here with us that week and will be really helping us dig into some advanced RAG capabilities. Jug says we'll RAG against the machine. Absolutely. And then he'll be doing a guest talk on that Wednesday as well about interleaving strategies with RAG. Uh, that Thursday, we'll dive into automating LTR with click models and active learning. That's where Doug will dive deep into things like building click models from user behavior signals, overcoming ranking biases, and using active learning to be able to explore new items that may not necessarily be coming in your normal search results uh, with the default algorithms you use, and then, of course, just an overall end-to-end learning to rank approach, leveraging user behavior feedback. The following week is a shorter week because it's in the US Thanksgiving holiday. So we only have one session that week. It will be on Tuesday with myself and John Handler. I'll be digging into some of the core concepts and notions behind how you scale vector search in production. Things like ANN strategies, quantization, representation learning, different types of quantization, scalar, binary, product quantization, representation learning, and ranking and recall optimizations, as well as how to combine multiple different strategies for optimizing vector search. John Handler from OpenSearch, who also works at AWS, will be here that week, and he will be doing a deep dive into understanding scaling and production at large scale based upon lots of production clusters that OpenSearch runs in AWS. Uh, we'll have Thanksgiving break, and then we'll come back. During Thanksgiving break, that'll be an opportunity for folks to catch up. Maybe if you're behind on the labs and you want to really dig in. If you're not taking the holiday, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I know a lot of people will be off that week. And then we'll dive into the last week, which will be focused on that Tuesday on semantic query understanding. I'll be mostly leading that section, talking about semantic query parsing, different approaches. For example, the bag of documents approach that Daniel Tukelang talked about in a previous Lightning lesson. We'll be using that approach along with a technique called semantic knowledge graphs, which is one of my specialties to do semantic search using mostly graph and lexical based approaches. We'll focus on query classification using your inverted index, query sense disambiguation using your inverted index, semantic caching for more performant utilization of vector search, and also some model serving strategies if you're running local models. And then one other topic that is also kind of a specialty or unique to me is we'll be talking about wormhole vectors, which again, we had a previous lightning lesson on, but we'll be diving deeper into some practical applications of that in the course. And then the last session, Doug in particular will be diving into agentic search. Doug has a whole nother class where he teaches on cheating at search with agents, and he'll be giving us kind of an overview of different agentic search patterns, leveraging LLMs for query classification, query disambiguation, and optimizing search for humans versus agents, as well as leveraging search sort of decomposes a series of tools for agents to coordinate, and finally, kind of a foray into the cheating at search with agents class, which you could look at after this class if you're interested. So there's a lot there. Years and years of Doug and my expertise is going into this course to provide you a really good overview. Hopefully that's really interesting to you. I know a lot of you have signed up already. We do have an amazing cohort of folks between our guest speakers and students. We've got many top companies represented. I'm not going to read them off, but you can kind of see them here. The nice thing about this type of course is that it's a cohort-based course, which means you will be in there live with Doug and I and the guest speakers, but also with the other students who are in the course. So I will tell you that there's a few topics that I'm the foremost expert on, and there's a few topics that Doug may be the foremost expert on, but there's almost every topic we go over, there's going to be someone in the class who knows it better than us. And it's a really great opportunity. I know Doug and I, while we both love to teach, we also love to learn, and teaching is one of the best ways to learn. So we're really excited, not just for us to be teaching, but for us to be learning from all of you and for you all to be learning from each other as well. So that's the overview of the course. And with that out of the way, I think we will now dive in